Hello, my name is Mike Tuner, Fabin Channel. I'm Jay from Jay Booksquare, and today we're talking about the 22 books I read in September. First things first, let me quickly announce I did write a book called Gunshot Residue. I published it in September as well. On September 20th, it's called Alex, as he believes his husband is cheating on him. He decides to find out the truth for himself and might regret it. That's a weird way to say that. Okay. Either way, it's out. If you want to buy it, you totally can. Links are in the description. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. I guess we'll start with the 3s, 4s, and 5s that are not a part of other videos and or series. So we'll start with the 3s. So a solid 3 was Joe Husband's Thursday Murder Club. I found this to be extremely tedious and slightly boring to read. None of the main characters stood out to me. This follows a group of older people who try to solve murders. I read it because of a movie, and I didn't like the book so much I didn't end up watching the movie, so it's never going to turn into a novel versus, which is the reason why I read it. We have Killers on the Road by Stephen Graham Jones. Killers on the Road follows a woman who is hitchhiking. Her friends end up picking her up after finding her on the side of the road. She's not pretty far from where she's from. They end up trying to help her achieve her goal. And in that process, they hear an urban legend about someone who is a skinwalker who can put on, like, they just need a little bit of skin to transform into somebody else. And it is a very big massacre-y book. I didn't care for it though, I'm not gonna lie. I gave it a 3.25. This is in like the same vein as The Babysitter by Stephen Graham Jones, which I liked slightly better. Lastly, we have Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a middle grade horror novel, thriller novel. Follows a girl who ends up a black girl who her father is in prison, and she ends up going off to live with these very white, affluent people that she knew when she was younger, hasn't seen them in a very long time. They live on an island, and weird shit starts to happen. It is a 3.5. However, if I was a child, like for the age range this would have been a 5. You need a book where a child needs to experience their first plot twists and things like that. This is a perfect read. It's a little bit edgy, and so they're going to feel like they shouldn't be reading it, but I promise you it is appropriate. It doesn't go super far. Obviously, maybe read it first because it is a thriller type of thing. Next, we'll talk about the 4s. I have a 4.5 right here, which is We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I was really shocked that it was a 4.5 as well. Do not get me wrong. This follows 2 different storylines. I'm going to talk about the first one that's really predominantly in the beginning of the book. It follows 2 girls who go missing on the 4th of July during fireworks. We're following the sheriff's daughter, and as she is trying to solve this case. And that's all I can really say about it. I adored it. Cannot wait for the sequel. We'll be picking it up. Then my 5-star that we're going to talk about is Mario's Got Money Troubles. Mario's Got Money Troubles is a 5-star read. I love Margot so much. If you don't like Margot, I probably wouldn't recommend it. She's either to love or she's not. As a woman, she is she was a part of college. She ends up dating her professor. She knows it's wrong. She ends up getting pregnant with the professor's baby. She has the baby, and she's got money troubles because of it, and she ends up becoming an OnlyFans model. I adored this book. I like the nuances, the complexities. I loved it all. That was a 5-star read. I read 2 random graphic novels that don't fit into any category, so we're gonna talk about those. We have Total Hispanics of the Heart, which was a 3.25. This is about a journalist who wants to know more about the WWE, and so she ends up joining or wrestling in general, and she ends up joining a gym where everybody thirsts after her. That's something you're interested in. I think Comicsology original, so you have to have a description to read it. Then I read this monstrosity, which is I picked it up because it's a Hawkeye and Black Widow comic. I couldn't really tell you what it's about. I was so pissed the whole time, it kind of just escaped my brain. I'm giving it like a 1.5 probably. I think I landed on a 2 when I initially read it, but it still pisses me off to this day, which means it needs to be lower. This is about Black Widow who gets the fucking venom, and it's one of the worst choices I've ever read in a comic book. Alright, everything else has a purpose. Let's start with series overviews. Series overviews goes as following. I did finish Murderbot last month. I read Fugitive to Elementary and System Collapse. Murderbot follows MB as he's trying to survive with humans who he hates with other shit. I really like the first book. The rest of the series is questionable at best. I do believe once it started hitting its peak, it never did reach the spot. That being said, both these were equally, I think, a 3. That you'll eventually see a whole video of me talking about Murderbot. I think Systems Collapse is the first we are in the series. Next one I'll talk about is Part of Your World by Avia Mendez. So we have Part of Your World, which is book 1, and then you have Yours Truly, which is book 2. This is a romance companion series. The main character's best friend is the main character in this one. What it is. This one follows Alexis Travis, something like that, as Alexis is a very prominent person in the medical world, and she comes from nothing. I mean, she comes from everything, and then we have Travis who comes from nothing, who works on a farm. The big age gap. I fucking adored it. It was a 5-star read. Highly recommend. Yours Truly pissed me off and on a great level. This is a fake dating book, which I thought I was going to love. About Brianna, who ends up fake dating like this other guy who's called Dr. Death in their hospital. I love Jake so much. I loved everything Jake was going through. Jake was beautiful. Highly recommend Jake. However, Brianna pissed me off so much, so deeply. So deeply. Also, the main conflict here is probably my worst trope, my least favorite trope in any, or most romances. I'm sure there's others. That being said, let's go ahead and jump through the e-arcs that I got last month. I had 5. They're all graphic novels. So yeah, I don't know when most of these are coming out. Hopefully they're out soon. We'll start with Artificial by Marie Lovett. This is about a world where if you're down on your luck and you want a boyfriend, you can get an AI boyfriend who's basically like a sex bot, and you can customize him to your ability. She does it in a way that is dangerous. It is a 3.25, 3.5. To be honest with you, I could find myself writing an actual like short story or novel about the similar concept. So that's pretty cool. I was a fashion school serial killer, annoyed the fuck out of me. I gave it a 2.5. It's about a girl who's obsessed with other people and ends up skinning people alive to make clothing. It sounds more interesting than what it is, I promise you. I would not recommend. Exquisite Corpses is by James Tyron 4. He's the one who wrote Someone's Killing the Children, things like that. So there are gay elements here for sure, which is beautiful. And I think that's probably why I gave it a 3. It's like a Hunger Games style type of story, which I like a good game. It's okay. It's okay. It's something to write home about. Free Planet, I truly could not tell you what it's about. I know it's about this group of people that I really liked. I liked all the characters very much. I gave it 3.5, and they're trying to liberate a planet. However, anything past that point is a bit out of my head. So yeah. Would recommend though, it's from Image. I think Image does a phenomenal job. The last one that we're going to talk about is Consensual Violence. Consensual Violence is exactly what you think it might be, and it follows this girl who is essayed at the very beginning of the book, or the very beginning graphic novel, and it's about her revenge, and it's not satisfying. I was very annoyed. I gave it a 2. I don't like those stories to begin with. Then for a 5-book video that is coming up very soon, we have Ira Mendes' Say You'll Remember Me. I can't tell you what this book is for. However, this is the latest Ira Mendes that I think I've read, and this follows a vet and a woman who works in marketing. I think she works for like, what is it, Mustard or something? And she ends up adopting a cat who doesn't have a butthole, takes him in, and essentially he says, oh, you should put the kitten down. She says, no, I'm gonna raise some money, I'm gonna get her a butthole. Gets her a butthole. They go on a date. It's a beautiful date. She reveals that she actually cannot stay. She has to go home and take care of her mom. And so she ends up leaving again. And so it's a long distance romance dealing with dementia, lots of interpersonal family drama. And in my opinion, it was not a good mix, so it was not my favorite Ira Mendes that I read. It was like a 3. Definitely not as bad as George Truly, because George Truly truly pissed me off. It was definitely one of the worst ones I've read so far before I read Yours Truly. So I guess, yeah. This next section, the final section we'll talk about today, is 25 and 25 releases. So I have a video coming out hopefully relatively soon. I don't know, I gotta read one of them, and it's a sequel, and I just don't have time to dedicate myself to it. We have, I'll get to it. I'll work my way to it. I promise. So I picked 25 books to read this year. These are 3 books that I read last month that help achieve that goal. The first one is Library Hellgrove by Cassandra Claw. This follows a school where you send your kids to reform school. It's magic infused. And essentially during this one weekend, all the professors say you have to kill this person or all you guys die. And then we're also figuring out how they got there. I hated it. Also, it was not gross. I mean, a lot of people might say it's gross, but I didn't think it was that gross compared to anything else Cassandra Claw has written. I was very underwhelmed with the extreme part of this novel. So I gave it like a 2.25. Not for me. Then we have Semi Well Adjusted, Despite Literally Everything by Alison Stoner. This reads both like a memoir and a nonfiction trying to tell you how to help you. It also tapes in these conversations I was not expecting. A lot of this book deals with religion. Was not expecting that. It was still a 5-star though. I think everything she puts in here is beautiful. The wording is gorgeous. Everything feels like it's coming from a very, very special place. So I'm grateful that I read it. I'm grateful that she wrote it. And lastly, we have Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. One of my most anticipated of the year and one of my most disappointing. I gave it a 3 for its originality. However, like in reality, it was like a 2.5, maybe less, maybe a 2. I don't know. I had to applaud Samantha Downing for taking a risk again, because she was in the camp of I need to perform well. Sales wise, it felt like in some write these really basic thrillers, and now she's back into her weirdness. And I love her weirdness, so I'm going to applaud her for it. This follows a serial killer who I hated with a passion. If you like Lottie, it's for you. If you don't, it's not even fucking worth it. Who ends up, this girl comes and says, oh, convicted too young, too many people turned on you, I want to tell your story in a documentary. She ends up killing this girl because the girl couldn't say no, and it's about the ramifications of those actions. I did not care for it at all. There was not a single part of this novel that I really, really like. I didn't even really like the writing. Why did I give it a 3? This is such a negative review. But that's how I feel. And guys, those are 22 books that I read in the month of September. Let me know in the comments down below what you read. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching and goodbye.